Hello and welcome to Huddersfield Town's post-match show after a disappointing result against Bristol City. To talk us through the action, I'm delighted to say I'm joined by former Huddersfield Town striker Marcus Stewart and Richard Sutcliffe from The Athletic. How are you guys? You okay?
All good, thank you, Adam.
Good, thank you.
Excellent. Marcus, I'll start with you. I mean, watching that, I can't quite believe we've come away with no points.
No, I mean, like I said, it's the first half an hour of the game. That's when it was lost. You know, two goals that were pretty dim goals, really, straight through the middle of the pitch. Not enough intensity with recovery runs back into space, and City, the only two shots they had on target and scored them. But after that, it's a funny mentality us English have. It's almost when the back's against the wall, in social life as well, really, not just in football, but I think it goes through to football. We start kicking in and start doing something about it. And off the back of going 2-0 down, Huddersfield started dictating the play. Had a great 15, 20 minutes leading up to the halftime whistle. Hit the post a couple of times. I thought O'Brien was brilliant. I thought he penetrating runs off the ball and with the ball, which got him the chance when he hit the side of the post. I thought he did really well. And then second half, it was more or less the same as the last bit of the first half. Hit the bar, hit the post. Again, 24 shots on goal, 6 on target to Bristol City's 4 on goal and 2 on target. So, the stats don't lie. But for me, it's the first half an hour. It took them half an hour and 2 goals to go behind to kind of set their game up a bit. But saying that, it's not always won and lost in the first half hour. I think Huddersfield deserved to get something out of it. But once you're in a bit of a rut, and you've lost 4 games on the trot, Bristol City have won 2 games on the trot previous to today. That's 3 now. And now Huddersfield lost 5. So momentum plays a big part in things like that. The players would be disappointed that they come off that game having lost it. They should have got a draw from it at least. So, each game you don't get any sort of result, the next game is a little bit more pressure on you. Hopefully, next game they don't go two goals down before they start playing.
Yeah, I mean, Sutty, like Marcus said, 24 shots in total, 4 that hit the woodwork, 6 on target. We had enough chances and enough high quality efforts where we could have won 2 games, let alone just 1.
Absolutely. Even in the last sort of 5-10 minutes, there was 3 very, very good chances. And I really did think an equaliser was going to come. But like Marcus said, it was just that. Well, it was a mad 3 minutes, really, wasn't it? That was the defending for both goals. And I must admit, at that stage, I remember covering a game down there in the promotion year when it was 4-0 and Hull got that horrible injury. And I had visions of that, a repeat of that, to be fair. I thought it was going to be a long, long night. So credit to them for that. Really came back into it. And I thought the last hour was the complete opposite of how they were against Millwall a week ago. I thought there was so many good signs from that. Let's not forget the injuries they've got. I don't think there's a championship squad who could do without the number of players that Town have got out at the moment. So to come back with a performance like that against the Bristol City side, we've got a great win in the cup. They're nibbling away at the playoffs in the championship. So, I feared the worst after half an hour, but I actually feel a lot better now.
Do you think, Marcus, it was just that little bit of luck that we needed in front of goal? Obviously, like we said, we've hit the woodwork 4 times. As a former striker yourself, what do you think we needed that little bit extra of?
I mean, I know we hit the woodwork quite a lot, but the chances, they weren't, apart from the last one for Campbell, when he kind of tried to deflect a shot in towards goal. I think they were long distance. I think O'Brien's was a tough angle to try and get something out of it. He's tried to go near side of the goalkeeper, right hand side, a real tough angle to get something. So it wasn't as if they were clear cut chances. But saying this, another day, like I say, they go in and you win the game 4-2. That's how it is. You can't. Those things happen to you, and you've got to get on with it. So, yeah, the lads will be disappointed, that's for sure. And they obviously missed Schindler and Tommy Elphick, that's for sure, in the middle of the park. I know Richard did well tonight. I thought Sarr a couple of times got sucked out of position and almost duped into going to somewhere else to run into. I think you can see that by I think it was the second goal. He's tried to read the ball too early, and the defenders, the forward players delayed it and then put him through from the space where he left. I didn't think he tried to read it. So, I'm sure alongside Richard, Sarr, and Schindler and Elphick, I think, those two, you got 4 good centre halves there. When they're back in training again, it depends. It'd be interesting to see who plays there, because Tufflow's a great left back, as we know. Apart from that first half an hour, like I say, the mad 3 minutes in the middle of the park, where you don't expect through balls to get played through, and it's normally that it goes out wide because everyone narrows up the closer to get to your goal. I don't think that sort of thing happens. So no, I'm a bit disappointed. I was thinking the first half an hour, I was thinking I'd love to be a Bristol City striker on that pitch at that time, because there was so much space and there was so much counter attack and so much space to run into or get out wide or come down the middle. But after that, it just changed. It's that, like I said, the first half an hour you can lose a game in, and then if you look at it from the flip side, Bristol City then changed their mentality, and those were the ones that they started to defend and sit back and didn't go for it and almost played like the away team and tried to play counter-attack football, and it didn't work for them. And Huddersfield took full control of the game. There's no doubt about that. The percentage, I think it was something like 64% possession for Huddersfield. So you don't very often get that away from home. It's just a case on a different day you take your chances when they come along, or if you have a shot like the last shot they hit the bar on the side of the bar and bounced out, those sorts of things go in. So they've got to be buoyed and positive from those sorts of things. But sometimes as a player, it's really hard to be like that when you've lost 5 on the trot. You're thinking, where did your next win come from? But the way I look at it, you're 1 game closer to your next win. That's how you got to look at it. You're not 1 game closer to your next loss. So they've got to stay positive, the chaps, that's for sure. I'm sure Carlo will do that.
Just a final point on chances, City. Arguably the biggest one fell to Fraser Campbell. I think it was 2 or 3 minutes after Juninho Bacuna obviously pulled a goal back for us. I think Harry Toffolo's cross, he latched onto it about 6 yards out. If that goes in, the game's completely tipped on its head, isn't it?
Oh, very much so. The cross was fantastic, to hit it as early as that. Marcus knows a lot better than me, but I'm sure he would have scored that one. I'd have put my mortgage on that one, definitely. I thought the chance near the end when Phillips got the flick on as well. I thought Campbell had a bit more time than he had there, and I thought that was a great moment. And cause we all want to see a Huddersfield lad coming through and an academy product, and I was a good bit, a good input there because it really helped. But it's just frustrating, isn't it? There's positives, but it's frustrating that they've come out with defeat. But I like I say, I thought there were so many pluses. O'Brien, I loved him at Bradford when he was on loan there, and then we all know what it was like last season. And it's not happened for him this season. Obviously, he missed a lot of football, but he looked like the old Lewis O'Brien. I thought tonight. I thought Bacuna, who I'm not the biggest fan of, if I'm honest. I thought he had a great presence about him today as well. I thought he really made things happen. And there's so much good stuff going forward. Aaron's as well. I thought that was his best game for Town so far, and he played a bit longer as well, didn't he? So he's obviously getting more match fit. And I thought he brings something that they probably missed since Karoma got injured, to be honest. I think, there's a threat there. So yeah, plenty of positives, but like you say, if obviously if they get 2 goals in 3 minutes like Bristol City did, then I'd have fancied Town to go on and win maybe 3 or 4-2. But it's all ifs and buts in it, I'm afraid.
I mean, Karamba, I never missed him. He's top goal scorer. I understand that. So he would have been an obvious miss. But it is giving, like Richard said, it's giving young lads an opportunity, and lads that might not play so often, to prove themselves, and invaluable experience really for when these other experienced lads come in. For when they do get back in the team again, they'll be benefit from runs that they're on at the moment. What I did like second half, I know a lot of the teams changed their formation by 3 times. Both teams started off with four at the back. Whereas last time these two teams played, both started with 5 at the back. So things have changed since then from both managers' point of view. But I liked it when Bacuna and O'Brien almost sat in front of the back, and Pritchard coming in behind the front man at the time. It was a 4-3-3. It was a 4-2-3-1. I kind of like Bacuna back there. I mean, I thought he seemed more forward passes and dribbled a bit more with the ball, a bit like O'Brien does from a deeper position. He wasn't on trying to get on the half turn in behind the midfielders, trying to get on the ball. They were getting on the ball and doing something with the ball and playing more forward passes. I like that the last formation, if I'm honest. I mean, you know, I've been an assistant manager, so I know it's easier for us to look at why doesn't he start with that sort of formation? Why doesn't he do that? Why doesn't he go attacking straight away? Because he took a defensive midfield player on, brought an attacking midfield player on, and put 2 attacking midfield players. It's sitting in front of the back 4. It's easy for us to say this. There's no pressure on us. We haven't got in making instinctive decisions there and then. But I did like it. It wasn't. I think O'Brien works his socks off. His recovery runs are brilliant. He doesn't jog back. He sprints and then he jogs once he gets back into position. And I thought Bacuna done that as well. So I think that's something to look at in the future. From honest view, it's not as if they're two midfield players that are there and they're a luxury. It looked like they could do a job there. So yeah, I liked it. Like I say, just a defender. I think there's plenty of positives there. Like you say, Phillips coming up through the ranks. As it happens, my son played with him at under-13s at Huddersfield, and he was talking about him just now.
Really?
So, and Schofield, they were both all in the same team. I think it was under-13s, under-14s at Huddersfield. So he was just saying, these two have played, and O'Brien was a year above. So it's great to see young lads coming through. And like I said, they will get invaluable experience. But the last 20 minutes with that formation, the 4-3-3, 4-2-3-1, however you want to look at it, I quite like that. I quite liked it. And obviously going for it, for putting 2 up front at the end and O'Brien on the left. Loads to be buoyed by, but it's a tough pill to swallow for those players and the manager, because you got nothing from the game and it's 5 on the trot. So it's about picking the lads up now. It's going to be hard, if I'm honest with you. Like you say, when you have players that play so well and get 7, 8, 9s out of 10 in a game, a lot of the players, you're wondering, if I play that well, if I don't play well again, I'm not going to get those opportunities. So there'll be all sorts of psychological effects on the lads. Hopefully the manager and the staff will be around to pick them up and make them feel good again, and kind of make them see where the next goal is going to come from, next win is going to come from. That's their job. You've got to be a psychologist in the game as well, not just a coach.
Marcus has touched upon this, Sutty, but what do you think really changed after that half an hour? Was it the backs against the wall, a shift in mentality from Huddersfield Town? Were there tactical switches from Carlos? Or equally, was it the fact that Bristol City had that 2-goal lead and changed their mentality to play on the counter-attack?
I think Marcus touched on it right at the start. The intensity probably wasn't there in that opening half hour, even though O'Brien had that great chance. Well, I say great chance. It was the great move to create the chance that hit the post. But I don't think the midfield had the intensity that they then had for, certainly in the second half. Obviously they were a lot better for the 10, 15 minutes before half-time as well. But I think that was it, really. And I don't know what the mentality changed. Obviously, when you're watching it in the stadium, it's easier to spot things like this than when you're actually watching it on the television. But, it's like Naki Wells. It disappeared, really. There was that one 50-50 with Richard Keogh, I think it was, after about an hour, something like that. But you never saw him in the second half because the rest of his team was so deep. They just whether they had subconsciously thought, well, we're not playing well, we'll just hold on to this. And obviously they've got the 3 points, so that worked. But, Town, even if they had set back like they did, then at least Town went on the front foot and made things happen. And I think that's such an encouraging thing after, that flat game against Millwall last week, which, I know that the penalty goes in and everyone, and it's a point and it's a decent result, but the performance wasn't really there. Whereas tonight, that was like chalk and cheese, I thought.
Let's just run through the goals very, very quickly. The first one, Marcus, arguably could have been offside. I think if VAR looks at it, it's probably off, but I'm clutching at straws there. I mean, defensively, it's got to be a little bit better, hasn't it?
I mean, you can look at it from both sides. It's a great dummy from the winger who comes in off the line and just leaves the ball to run through to Jeju. And it's a great finish. You know, he's had a lot to do. It's quite tough thing to do when you've got time on your hands to think what's going to happen next. Sat the keeper down, went round him. So the keeper more or less made his mind up by coming out so early. That's me thinking as a striker. So I'm looking at it from Bristol City. From Huddersfield's point of view, it's disappointing. Like I said, it's not a ball through the middle of the park. A bit like the second goal, which we're going to go on to in a minute. It's something that should be cut out. That should not happen. I get it might go over the top, but through the lines, low, it shouldn't happen. It shouldn't happen. Someone gets sucked out of that space. A fullback has to cover around and fill that space and make it go wide. It's simple as that. So no, a good finish from Bristol City's point of view, but it shouldn't have got there in the first place from Huddersfield's point of view.
That dummy was key, Sutty, wasn't it? I mean, Alex Vallejo kind of popped out to expecting Semenyo to receive the ball, which gave Jeju an extra little bit of room, and Rolando Aarons was just slightly behind the rest of the back line, wasn't he? Which the linesman obviously thought that he played him onside.
I think it was Mbenza from memory. I think it was. I couldn't. It was right down in the bottom of the screen. I was trying to read his number when the replay was done, but it was borderline as to what happened with that. But yeah, it's just a ball through the middle though. And the second one as well. You know, Casey Palmer. We know all about him at Huddersfield. You know, that promotion year again, and no pressure on him. You know, he could look up and he threaded it through. SAR's the wrong side, and again, another fine finish. It really was. But from a Bristol City point of view, it's a great ball and a great finish. From Town's point of view, nobody put any pressure on the ball, and SAR's the wrong side. So disappointing with the Huddersfield Town hat on.
Yeah, if SAR just stays where he is, 2 yards to his right, and doesn't anticipate the ball going to his left, it doesn't create that space. You know, he's got to let the ball go outside him. Have a race, have a one-on-one with the striker. It's a lot harder chance for him to create himself. That's the only thing that was wrong, but that cost him the game.
Yeah, just what I was going to ask you actually, Marcus. So, great minds, eh? Obviously, then, like you say, everything changed after the half an hour mark. We got a goal back. Rolando Aarons, we've seen elements of his game in the last kind of few matches. We've seen glimpses. I think he was really good today, City, and you could see that in the goal that we scored.
Oh yeah, it was great play out wide for the goal. You know, and I must admit, when he put the ball in, I thought, oh, he's missed out here. That's not the right ball. But fantastic back heel. I think it was Mbenza then, and then a great finish, and you know that turns it into fantastic wing play. Whereas I'm screaming at the telly, oh, you messed up with that chance there. But no, I thought Aaron's I thought he was a really big plus today. You know, we've seen flashes of him, and he's obviously getting, like I said earlier, getting more match fit because he played that bit longer. And I think he's going to be a really dangerous weapon for a team who like to play from back to front, as we've seen in terms of the ball on the floor, but getting it forward at speed along the deck as well. And I think he's going to be a big part of that.
Yeah, there'll be a lot of frustration after this result, Marcus, obviously, because no one likes to lose games. But off the back of the Millwall defeat, like City touched upon earlier, in terms of the way that we moved the ball, in the way that we attacked, and the amount of chances that we did create, there's a lot to be positive about, even if people don't want to kind of listen to that at this moment in time.
No, listen, there is. There's a lot of positives. You know, the amount of possession, the amount of shots at goal, the amount of corners. I think Bristol City didn't have one corner. I think Huddersfield something like 16 corners or something like that. I'll get the proper stat in a minute. I'll have a little look. But
yeah, I'm pretty sure it was 16.
16 to none. So that proves, and that's a positive thing. But like I said, from a player's point of view, I'm looking at it from, if I was on the pitch thinking about it and being there, I'd be coming off very disappointed and kind of, you know, and you've got to be mentally strong to deal with what's just happened to you. You've got to take your medicine. You know, it's not a good habit to get into, is playing well and not winning games. You want to be not playing well and winning games, if that makes sense, and playing well and then trouncing people. So they have to change this around. And if they keep doing what they're doing, it will happen. But sometimes as a player, you just don't know when it's going to happen. You just can't see the sun between the clouds. It's just you just can't see it. Their heads would be so foggy at the moment. And we're talking about it because we've just watched the game. But if you're on the pitch and you're in that dressing room, it's a tough one to take off seeing the stats and watching the game. Town fans would have watched the game themselves, and a lot of them be despondent. But you have to see it for the positives that they are. And it's a good performance. Like you say, the Millwall performance wasn't brilliant, but it's a good performance. And if you keep playing well, you keep having those shots on goal, you keep having those sorts of corners. Don't get me wrong, if you're getting 16 corners a game, I think you'll get the first contact on at least 1, 2, or 3 of them. There should be a goal or a save from a goalkeeper from one, of course. So someone has to look at the set pieces as well, because those sorts of opportunities don't come around very often. You might be going to Norwich next week. I don't know what the fixture is next week, and you might just get one corner. So you've got to make it count. So when you get 16, you have to make one of those count. That's for sure, and make the keeper do some work. So that's another route to goal they got to work on. But in terms of creating chances, like you say, Fraser Campbell won the cross from Tuffalo, and the other Fraser Campbell won at the end when it came to him. Another day, those chances go in. But as long as what I would say to those players is, if you're working on them sorts of things in training, and you're giving yourself the best chance to put those kind of chances away by doing those sorts of repetition finishes throughout the week, then you shouldn't worry. If you're not, and you're just going off the training ground and not doing nothing and just going home, then shame on you.
Yeah, and then hopefully, yeah, absolutely. And I'm sure a lot of supporters will agree with you there, Marcus. Guys, thank you very much for joining us, and fingers crossed we can end this run of difficult performances on Saturday against Stoke City. Thank you for watching.